Hey, agency owners, wanted to talk to you today about three really vital sales tools that you need to have within your agency to allow for it to really be able to scale and grow your sales operation within your agency. I think that typically speaking, it sort of goes without saying, but number one is a CRM, making sure that you have the ability to track what activity is actually happening within your agency, where things are in your pipeline, what is the value of your pipeline, where are the stages, where do you have fall off, having an understanding of how exactly your sales operation even functions in the first place. And if you do not have that aspect of or that tool within your agency, you're not really going to be able to improve it and be able to understand where things are going wrong and how to even make sure that the activity that's going in. I was working with an agency a while ago, and when they first started with me, the agency owner unfortunately realized far too late that their sales team of two people hadn't really been doing much as far as any outbound sales outreach and any inbound sales outreach and just management of sales in general, and that the pipeline had completely dried up. And that realistically speaking, because of the sales cycle that they had of 12 to 18 months, that they were just now starting to feel the effects of the work that wasn't done a year ago. And had they had an understanding of what was actually happening within the agency, they would have been able to affect change sooner. So it cannot be understated having an understanding of what your data is and how incredibly important your data is in the first place. Number two is sales collateral. And why that's so incredibly important is that you need to have an understanding of how your sales team even communicates with the outside world, and make sure that you have the ability to be able to train your sales team in the first place. So what I see happen so frequently is that you have one salesperson talking with a prospect in one way and another salesperson talking with the prospect in a completely different way, which doesn't allow for you to have scalable and repeatable sales process and scalable and repeatable sales at all, where you then have varying costs where one service, the exact same service from one client to another client, is a completely different price because one salesperson sold it in, or because you believe that's what the client would actually accept the price point for that particular service. So that is indicative of a sales team that doesn't have a process, or an agency that doesn't have process and doesn't understand how to actually communicate value to that prospect client. And number three is sales reporting. So, as I was talking about with the CRM before, that it's so incredibly important to have data points that allows for you to understand what's actually going on within your sales department or within your sales team, and being able to actually see what activity is actually happening. So you've got both input data, which is the amount of work being done that has, so let's say that it's the number of leads that came in, how many phone calls you received, all of that aspect of what is actually going on from a marketing and sales perspective. And then you have output activity as well. So how many emails were sent out, how much content was delivered, how many YouTube videos were posted, how many social media posts went out, what the activity was on that, what the engagement was on that, having an understanding of all of those different aspects of what's going on within your agency to be able to understand exactly what's going to happen. So I'm a very firm believer that I don't want to look at only what happened yesterday or last month or 6 months ago to be able to determine where the agency should be going tomorrow, but I also want to know what's happening today. And the way that you do that is by tracking and having reporting. So understanding that if I were to send out 1,000 emails today, that I know that I get a 1 to 2% response rate. So I'm going to end up with XYZ number of opportunities or leads from that outreach. And then of those number of leads that I get, that I'm going to get a average number of $100,000 worth of closed revenue, because that is my average sales value with each client. And with a closure rate of 25%, I know that I'm going to get, for each time I send out in 6 months, I'm going to have XYZ result in revenue. So it's incredibly important to be able to have an understanding of the metrics within your agency to understand how you can project out what's going to be happening tomorrow, making sure that your agency is not only not going off the rails, but also that it's going to be able to achieve your end objective. If you've got any questions about what I spoke about today, because I did talk about things in sort of pretty high level, feel free to shoot me over an email or comment below, and happy to help as much as I can. Take care. Bye-bye.